Howdy there, friends. Sorry it's been so long since I've last checked in. Suffice it to say, I've been busy. Now, harvest season got off to a quick start with Mighty Mike's help. We got the first few fields knocked out no problem. Hasn't been quite as quick since then, though. See, when you're a one-man operation, things don't go all that fast. So I had to put my time and attention on getting the rest of the fields harvested. The last thing I could afford is for any of these crops to wither. So that's what I've been busy with, and I've had the camera by my side the whole time. So now I get to update you on how the rest of harvest season went for me. The first field I started with after Mighty Mike left was my other cotton field, which made sense because I already had the cotton harvester leased. It wasn't really all that much slower to do the field alone, as opposed to the other field that I did with Mike's help. The only extra time I really had to spend was to go back and pick up all the bales after I was done harvesting, rather than having Mike's help picking up the bales as I generated them. In terms of the output, I'll go into detail later in this video on how much cotton we actually got from the harvest, but let's just say I'm happy. Then I jumped over to the soybeans, and that's where things really started to slow down a little bit. The grain crops are certainly much slower when you don't have help. Guess who has two thumbs and had to go over to the truck and bring the trailers over to the harvester so I could pipe out and unload each time the harvester got full? This guy. That's okay though, I'm not complaining. I knew what I signed up for when I started this. Just pointing out the differences in terms of how long it takes when you have help and when you don't. I will say this, I think next year is going to be well worth the money to go out and hire some help come harvest season. I should have enough money to cover it, and these are just kind of first year growing pains. But back to the soybeans. So I had 3 fields I had to get done, took a little while, and I'll go over how much we produced and how much we made on soybeans once again at the end of the video. Remember this, I do not have storage on the farm. The little bit of storage that I do have is occupied with sorghum so that I have chicken feed for the year. So all the soybeans that I harvested had to go to the grain elevator immediately. I had to accept whatever prices were at the time of harvest, and once again, I'm going to chalk that up to first year growing pains. I think additional storage on the farm is an investment I need to look into sooner than later so that I can hold out on some of these crops and wait until prices get better. Then, to wrap everything up, my last 2 fields were sunflower fields. Now let me say this. This was a year of learning, and one of my key lessons I feel like I've learned this first year is that I probably need to consolidate crops next year. I had oats, sorghum, cotton, soybeans, and sunflower planted this year. Now, you might be asking what's wrong with that? Well, I really didn't think it through enough. I was in such a hurry and so excited to just get planting that I didn't stop to think about the equipment that I needed to lease. Because I don't own harvesting equipment yet, I had to lease multiple different harvesters and multiple different header types. So if I focus next year on just cotton, or just sunflowers, or just soybeans, I think it'll be a better strategic move, and I'll be able to eliminate some of my leasing costs and maximize my profits. I do think there's going to be times where I need to rotate crops in. For example, when I start running low on sorghum or any type of feed for my chickens, I might need to mix in that type of crop so that I'm growing my chicken feed, not buying it. But by and large, I think there'll be something to be said for finding a primary crop type and focusing in on that. Also, since we've talked a little bit about purchases and priorities on expansion of this farm, trailers. That's something simple that I think I can buy between now and next harvest season, and another way to kind of incrementally lower the leasing costs. If I own my own trailers rather than having to lease them, that helps with leasing costs. And then if I'm only leasing one harvester type and or one header type, that's certainly going to help with leasing cost. So big lesson learned there as far as profits. Unfortunately, it's a lesson learned the hard way as I review what I made versus what I spent. And I believe next year and years beyond, I'll be much smarter with my finances and much more strategic with my planning. And on the sunflowers, much like the soybeans, no additional storage space at the farm, so I had to sell on the fly. All that being said though, I still feel as though I did pretty good this year. In spite of the lessons I've learned, in spite of things that I think I can apply moving forward, and also in spite of the fact that I had to sell immediately and couldn't necessarily store and wait on better prices, I'm happy with what I've done this first year. These lessons are valuable as I make them at least, and my intention is to make them very valuable and apply them moving forward. But let's take a look at some of the finances, both what I spent on equipment for harvest season and what I made on my crop sales. Alright friends, here we go. Follow along with me. The bottom line is our harvest income. In July, this is on the oats that we harvested, $37,175 made. In September, this is on the sorghum harvested, $98,507 made. Remember, I didn't sell all of my sorghum. I stored a fair amount for chicken feed. Then in October, this is on the soy and sunflowers, $247,840 made. Now, look toward the top of the screen, under vehicle leasing costs. These are the costs to offset some of my crop sales. I spent $34,426 in July on the oats, so I pretty much broke even on oats. That's one of these valuable lessons learned. Then I spent in September $39,805 for the sorghum equipment. Then in October, I spent $108,051. This looks extremely inflated, but remember, this includes the leasing costs for my cotton harvester. I have not yet sold my cotton. Since cotton is bales, this is the one crop that I am able to store and wait for better prices. Even without the cotton though, I have net profits of $201,240, so just over $200,000. Not bad for my rookie year. So I plan to spend this winter making money. I'm going to figure out the best time to get this cotton sold, and I have plenty of honey, wool, and eggs in storage to get sold as well. Hey, let's not wait so long next time before we catch up. Hope to see you again soon, and hope to count plenty of money this winter with you. Take care now.